you might get your ass kicked.
I'm gonna just be real with you. What this sounds is like is the election. This is the election. Motherfucking Democrats fucking around and found out this year. I tell you that.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, we say these things and then we don't act like it doesn't really happen. Like, yeah, go ahead and fight your bully. You might win. You might get your ass kicked. And you actually might be friends after you get your ass kicked. Like, that happens too.
Yep.
It happened so long. It took like months for that to happen. Like, he whooped his ass so long. No, he whooped his ass multiple times. And then finally, once he actually won, Danielson won, he's just like, you know what, kid? You did.
You do. You had to prove it.
So I have a question, though. So did you always have this feeling like Johnny was kind of misunderstood, or when you first, like when you start doing your therapy thing, then you started realizing oh shit.
So when you was in your black woman days, before you converted over to whiteism,
that evil white man,
until you became a white supremacist.
Shut the hell up.
So when you was
what's the name from
Clarence Thomas?
No.
Motherfucking Clarence Thomas?
Dave Chappelle's character.
Clayton Bigsby.
Clayton Bigsby. White bar.
So, oh my God, we're going to clip that. So, I love that back in the day, we talk about this, like we always identify, everyone always identifies with that marginalized identity, and they're always fighting against like this oppression. And then as you become a therapist, you realize that things are more complicated. You realize that there's goodness in everyone. And I had a student ask me this the other day because of the election and things. And she's like, are people just born rotten? Or are they born blank? Or are they born good and then the world pollutes them? I was like, kid, I don't know, man. She said, I believe that we're all born blank and then, the world teaches us and we become good or bad. I go with that. I also think that we're all just born really good because how innocent we are, but maybe it is blank, but I feel like it's good. And then the world, like Killmonger, I posted a reel. He's like, hey, man, the world took everything from me. And now I'm going to make sure you motherfuckers burn for it. Villains are usually created. But Johnny, that wasn't necessarily, well, we actually, as you get into the TV show, you see that he does have a fucked up life in childhood. But you don't see that. You just see that the sensei's got a fucked up child. See, so maybe the sensei's not. Turns out white men are actually good people.
Nobody's strictly evil.
Nobody's strictly inherently evil.
No, turns out
keep the leg. Like,
even Johnny was like, we'll talk about that.
But sweep the leg. In actual honesty, that white man just need a hug. No, let me be real with you. That white man just needs some coochie.
Oh my God.
It does solve a lot of problems.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay. Forget about life's problems.
Don't feel good about that. You don't feel good.
Oh, my Lanta? What's this? This is
it's glistening.
Oh no! This is Mother Earth. I am so sorry for all my clients that are going to listen to this. Many of them being autistic. I am so sorry for all the people that are about to tune into this, because I got a lot of clients tuning in now. I am so sorry.
Yeah. But me too. I'm comfortable with you guys now. So
it is what it is. I know y'all fucking. It's fine. We can talk about it.
Jesus Christ.
Right, you a college student. I know you fucking.
Yeah, we know.
So yeah, continue. Why do you see the goodness in these individuals?
Yes, I think it's because, like you said, like your client put it, I think I kind of believe some of that philosophy too. And myself having kids. And seeing how I'm raising them and, seeing how some other kids maybe dealing with things. It's like you can see that, and also being a therapist and seeing like people's life kind of unfold and hear their stories and different things that have happened to them. You can see how people end up where they are and how they end up making these decisions, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, whether they understand that they're good, understand that the decisions that they're making are like just bad, inherently bad, or whether they don't and don't have that insight. So I think therapy did really help me kind of humanize a lot, especially like even as a therapist, there's a lot of pressure on us to not be human. Like I've seen things where people are like, therapists have therapists? Like, why wouldn't they? Like, a surgeon doesn't perform surgery on themselves. Like, so you need someone to help you too. And you would want your therapist to, if not be in therapy, have gone to therapy, knows what it's like, knows that they had their stuff and that they're dealing with their stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of the scene, Spencer, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where the police chief, oh my God, Captain Holt, season 4, he gets this rod that goes right through his leg, and then Adam, what, goddamn, I'm forgetting everyone's name right now. The Sandberg. Andy, yeah.
Andy.
And so, right, and he's like, I'm freaking out. And he's like, don't worry. And then he does his own surgery on his own leg, and he sews himself up, coaching the guy that's just watching, like, you're fine, you're doing fine. While he's just like dry heaving, but the captain's fixing his wound. It doesn't work like that. We don't fix our wounds by ourselves. We usually need support. So Johnny, in all seriousness, Spence, obviously there's goodness in him. I mean, we're privileged enough now. When did this come out, in the 80s?
Yeah, 84.
So we're privileged enough now in 2024 to know Johnny's backstory, to know the coach's backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Things are more complicated. So I guess we'll get into that when it comes to Miyagi's trauma. But I mean, Spence makes some solid points, though. I mean, I don't know if trauma is a good enough excuse to be an asshole.
Who's giving an excuse is my question. Like,
I mean,
there's no excuse to say, okay, you had trauma, go ahead, be an asshole. It's great. It's like, no, you had trauma, go deal with your shit and be a better person.
So,
but you sometimes you need that guidance to say you got to deal with your shit.
So
if nobody's telling you,
who's supposed to guide people then? Who's supposed to be guiding it?
You can have your friends guide you. You could have your.
But what if they're all assholes though? Like, what if they're also?
But that's why you need more of a community. You know what I mean? Because sometimes your friend do be like, "Hey man, you're a little harsh, bro." Like when you talk to people, you come off a little harsh. Mm-hmm. If you trust that friend, maybe you'll listen and say, damn, okay, let me check myself, or a teacher, or, just a romantic partner even. Like, dang, I keep having all these failed relationships and they all keep saying the same thing. Maybe I need to listen.
So
they keep saying, I don't listen. Maybe I need to figure out what that's about.
Here's a question. Mm-hmm. As kids get to college, they start trying to figure out who the hell they are. Mm-hmm. And they start breaking away from their family patterns. And maybe that's the poison that poisons them. For a lot of us, that's what poisons us. Uncles, aunts, right? And parents, right? Our family dynamic. Then we get to college and we're like, oh, wait a minute now. Well, wait.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to hate all these people? These are good people. And so when do you think it is that a lot of people start to understand that maybe their upbringing wasn't all the truth or the full truth? They start questioning things and they're like, do you think that happens in the 20s or is it in the 30s? When do you think that happens for folks?
Bro, it really depends, because I think it depends on what you've experienced, because sometimes you experience something in life that just kind of changes your trajectory of being like, there's things that are more important in life than these trivial things,
True.
It could be in your early teens. Maybe you had something tragic happen or you lost a parent, or something like that. Or it's in your 20s. I've even had people that come to me for their first time in therapy that are well over 60. Just now understanding things that happened in their childhood and how it affects them in their present day. Because you think about those folks, there was no therapy, but you didn't have therapy back then. That wasn't even part of your language to talk about therapy.
No.
Especially if you were in the Black community, if there was a problem, you stayed in the back room and we brought you food, but nobody took you to the hospital unless you had to go to the emergency room. Nobody took you to therapy. You didn't have a therapist. No, that wasn't the thing. So now that it's less stigmatized, particularly, like I said, in the Black community, people are more open to understanding themselves and understanding how these past experiences have effect on how they make decisions now, how they control their emotions now, why do they make the choices that they do, so I think it's no age limit on it.
Okay. Me and Spence have been asking some folks throughout the 3 years we've been doing this about the Black community, the colored community. Let's stick with Black folks now. Do you think that it's changing the stigma? Because I work with a lot of younger Black folks, and like Nas, I can't tell. You know, when you're in it, you can't tell.
Yeah. The younger generation, yes, and it's interesting because I do credit the older generation for that, because the older generation put your therapist through college. Okay, they're the ones that paid the money or paid the taxes or whatever they had to do to make sure your current therapist was able to provide you with services. Now, even if they didn't believe in it or didn't agree with it, they still inadvertently helped in some way. Even you looking at them and being like, ooh, yeah, I need to go to therapy because I don't want to end up like that. Even that is some way of showing help, of, this is okay. And for the older generation, like I said, it's just a little bit harder. They didn't have time to deal with feelings. You had to go to work. You had to take care of your family.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop!